My name is Oliver Ratzesberger, Executive Vice President and Chief Product Officer of Teradata. And today with me we have Mike Olson, Co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer of Cloudera. Hi, Mike.
Oliver, great to see you.
I remember when we started talking web scale and clickstream data, and we thought, oh my God, that's a lot of data, right? There's 100 times more data than transactions. Well, IoT is something similar, right? It makes clickstream data look like peanuts, right?
Peanuts today, and you know, we haven't really even started to instrument the planet yet, right?
Exactly.
Every single sensor is going to be generating an order of magnitude more data because it'll be better at generating data. But we're going to sensorify, we're going to attach measuring devices to way more of the planet, not just only sensors, but actuators, right? The Internet of Things will be not only read-only, but writable. We'll be able to change the way these things behave.
Yes, and this is a very interesting area. Obviously, we're both engineering in that space. This is something where I think the next generation of solutions will come out. More and more companies start realizing that the intersection of big data and cloud and IoT enables entire new business models, right? And if you look out in the startups, you know, if you look out at what the latest companies are, there's more and more of that IoT creeping in there, right? Whether it's an Uber that all of a sudden has so much data about each vehicle, right? And that's just a starting point, right? There's a lot of opportunity, I think, and it's really interesting to see how the thought leaders, the analytical competitors, are starting to put their bets into these kinds of solutions because, as you said, it's not just the sensor data. It's interesting to read out what a home uses in terms of electricity or water.
Right.
It's interesting how you aggregate that into a city, a smart city, or into a whole state or a country. But it's not until you start acting on that data in real time and do something about that where you can really start improving ROIs, build entire new systems that were previously impossible, right?
You just came back from Europe. You mentioned you'd spoken with a couple of senior execs at auto manufacturers. We talk to a lot of the same customers, and I know we have some good joint deployments. You know, there are a bunch of technical problems you got to solve, right? I want to stream data in reliably. I've got to transform, clean it up. I'm going to aggregate across, I don't know, regions or whatever. And then I need to deliver it to the right platform for analytics. Again, good integration between the stuff that Teradata does, that Cloudera does, helps a lot there. But the reason that those CIOs are excited about IoT, about the connected car, isn't because it's going to make their existing business better. It's because their businesses are going to be different. Yeah. They will become, in some sense, analytics and data service providers. Yeah. So I'll interact with my car in new ways based on the analyses that the manufacturer is able to do in real time on data collected from me as I drive around. There will be new revenue sources, there will be new business opportunities, and the smart enterprise CIOs are thinking about their businesses, whether they make cars, whether they run an assembly line, whether they manage a logistics network in exactly that way. How will data change the kind of business that I am, where my revenue comes from?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, new revenue models, we hear from car manufacturers, what about unlocking certain features while paying for it on the dashboard? Yeah. Or you're going on a vacation trip, you want an extra 30 horsepower to have fun on your vacation, turn it on, right? And we get it, right? It's interesting. Or there's the whole saving lives, right? And there is a lot of thought that goes into how to leverage sensor data to make cars and vehicles in general more safe for human beings. I mean, there's car manufacturers out there that say, you know what, our primary goal is it that in 5 years from now, there's not going to be another death in our vehicle, right? Yeah. And how can we leverage data for that? So there's a very broad spectrum of possibilities out there that we are seeing, right? And I think our technologies are becoming more and more so the backbone, that fabric, as we said in the beginning, right? That listens to that data in real time, then integrates that data, but also acts on it and puts something back into the infrastructure that really is driven by rules, by algorithms. And we haven't even talked about the oncoming evolution of AI and algorithms that are really starting to set in right now, where it's interesting though, I've talked to executives that say, oh, you know what, we are late to this whole advanced algorithm, autonomous modeling AI, and I'm like, I'm not sure you're late to that. I think we are just on the brink of that. And by the way, if you want to be good at that, you better be good at the data integration underneath that.
That's right.
Because it's even more so important that you don't do chunk in, chunk out, because if the data that you put in there is not repeatable, if it changes on you, your algorithms will start doing really, really strange things that you will have a very, very hard time to understand. Why is this happening now, right? Yeah. And so even more so important than when you have human beings over it that will, if it's necessary, question, well, that can't be right? And an algorithm sometimes will not be able to do that, right? And so it's interesting how this is coming together, but there's a lot of innovation happening, obviously, in that space. And this is something that I'm very excited about our partnership as we are putting these products out there, as we're having these appliances, the integration points between our technologies. I think we are enabling breakthrough analytical capabilities in companies, and I don't think we have seen what can really be done with it just yet. I think the next couple of years will be really interesting.
I agree. I think about it in much the same way that you do. If you look back into the late 1960s, early 1970s, researchers like John McCarthy at Stanford and Marvin Minsky at MIT discovered, invented algorithms like neural networks. Fast forward 50 years to today, right? We're still using those same algorithms, right? Now, there was a long time when AI was a laughingstock. It wasn't delivering. It's not that the algorithms are all that great, that they're all that new, that they're all that powerful. What's new? Data.
Yes.
Right? We finally have enough data to train our models on to build the right neural nets, and that's letting us build these applications. Practically, though, for enterprise buyers, right? The fact that you've been able to do AI in the lab for decades, and even in places like Google and Baidu for maybe the last 10 or 5 years, is less relevant than how do I do that in my company today? Yeah. Cloudera, 8 years old. And you're right, eBay, one of our very first customers, together we built, at your direction for eBay, some very interesting analytic systems to allow much better results to be delivered. You helped us perfect the open source platform that we ingested from Facebook, Yahoo, and friends. That platform's a lot more mature. The Teradata product suite has evolved over the time. I think in addition, though, we've just got a lot of miles on us together now. We've seen what kinds of applications run well together. We've discovered how to make enterprises successful. And it's that wealth of experience, plus the technology, that I think really makes this a powerful partnership.